I want to ask this question. I want to go, you were talking about money, Dan, and the question of Donald Trump. He said he was going to give $100 million. He did not come close. Right. But let's talk just
about... And the campaign was under-resourced,
right,
so let's needed.
Well, let's talk about dough here. So, everybody came into this race saying this is going to be the $2 billion campaign. Money's going to matter extraordinarily. I have found it hard to point to a place where financial spending or fundraising has made a notable difference. Do you disagree with that? Do you think there's a place where money has really been pivotal in this general election?
Well, I just think there were periods where the Clinton campaign, the Democratic super PACs, were on the air just pounding away at Trump in key battleground states, and Trump was invisible. And I don't think doing rallies that the cable networks are carrying live is a substitute for very targeted, focused, on-message ads.
But that just raises the question of whether that even mattered. What's your answer to this question about money mattering?
The death of paid advertising. I think video matters, and I think video played a role in this campaign, but the idea that paid advertising would have made big changes in this race, I think, is wrong.
Do you think money has mattered in this race?
That's one of the great things about this race is that money's role has been subordinated in some ways. It remains important, but we've seen the amount of money that's been wasted in the primaries on both sides, and certainly, and even if you look at Sanders. I mean, Sanders raised a lot of money in small denominations. So I think it was a triumph for those who have been campaign finance advocates. We still have a lot of changes to make, but the country matured and said we're gonna behave differently.
Has money mattered?
Well, look, I agree. I mean, just looking at Bernie Sanders, I think he raised over $200 million with 9 million people giving, I forget the amount, I think he would say the average was $27. I think that's pretty amazing that he was able to do that. So I think the way money has been raised has changed. And this is something that I do give to Donald Trump. He has changed the game very much so, that he wasn't able to raise a lot of money and still keep, look, the national polls are, I think 4 or 5%. If you look at the average of polls, 4 or 5 percentage points. I mean, Obama won by 4 percentage points. But what's been tight is the battleground states have been incredibly tight, tighter than it was in 2012. And so I think
when the Democratic primaries were dragging on and Bernie Sanders' campaign was spending like $30+ million a month attacking Hillary Clinton, I got to believe that contributed to the primaries dragging on and driving up Hillary Clinton's negatives and tightening the race ultimately between Clinton and Trump. The idea that money doesn't matter anymore, I think, is overstated. Money behind TV, it may be less than it used to be.
I think that's what we're saying. I'm not saying money doesn't matter. I think it just had a different effect in this cycle.